about this. I know I haven't reached the end, but I end up having kind of spoiled alert, but I'll eventually get it on stream. But yeah, uh, according to the Fate Saga, is leading towards the Winnower, which is the Lord of Every Nothing, basically, aka the very main evildoer in the whole Destiny universe. And we all thought the witness was that. No, he was just a pawn for the Winnower. He was only the first knife, just like what Oryx said in Heresy. I know every knife in this realm. So that tells me how many knives that the Winnower has under him. There's also that as well. So, by a cliffhanger of Destiny 2, possibly continuation of Destiny 3. Hopefully, that will be a thing and go where it left off, basically. So, the Winnower is basically coming, in a way. I think if there is a term of Destiny 3, I think it needs to be dragged out within seasons and stories to have that anchor build up for the actual final showdown for Destiny 3. So, other than we are like supposed to be the special guardian, that the we are the special guardian, the actual weapon that actually becomes its actual destiny of the actual situation. Okay, so the idea of the flower game is actually an idea that the Winnower came up with, that it's all there is nothing but survival to the fittest. So basically, the gardener and the Winnower fought each other, and it became physical reality. That's why, and then we got celestial bodies of the planets or whatever that are called the Nine, and they observe and watch and everything, and they are actually celestial bodies that exist within the creation during the Winnower and the Gardener fighting. Then they came to a conclusion. Let's play a flower game, which the flower game actually does exist. And according to actual lore and story, we all thought that was just a myth, and apparently it's true. The flower game is real. So, in my idea of this here, in my opinion, I think whenever we get whenever we get a Destiny 3 or whatever, I think eventually we will have one, and it will basically continue where it left off. If not, oh well. But I don't think, like I said, Sony will pay this kind of money and then just, let it die off like this. I mean, the last update, we got logins over 1 million players and still climbing, and the servers are crashing. That should get Sony's attention. And like I said, not only a few people said, and I know there's a certain tweet, Guardians make our own destiny, by Paul Tassi. And he's a very popular guy in the Destiny community, and he actually knows a lot of things within inside of, like, supposedly Bungie, but he's not really allowed to say anything. But there's also a video he made that I believe that there is a Destiny 3, in a way, basically. I mean, I checked out Lucky's um, video, and he was talking about it as well, Paul Tassi or whatever. He basically saying, I believe in a Destiny 3 or whatever. So that's besides the point, but we have to kill the idea of the winnower's mindset, or however that he does exist, and somehow we got to defeat him. Now, I think the only way, even after we defeat the winnower, but I think, like I said, I think the game should drag out, have seasons back like it did with Destiny 2. I think it'll have like a more majority of build up than more expansions. And then that gives them more money for to exploit more resources of how the story was supposed to really go. That's just me. But yeah. Now back then, when the flower game was created and the gardener and the winnower were fighting at the Black Garden or whatever. So I think that was the only place of being at then. I don't think anything really exists then other than the Black Garden and the gardener and the winnower. So basically, the Vex robots the whole time were the first laws of the flower game. They were programmed to exterminate life in general. That's what they were mainly for. Oh, sorry about that coughing or whatever. But like I said before, yeah, like I know I repeat myself a lot, but that's just a habit. Drag it out with seasons and stuff like that, and then get to the winnower thing and stuff like that to a certain point or whatever. And so that way they'll and then have like bosses in between before the final showdown for the winnower and the gardener and stuff like that. Get our power level back higher than we defeated the witness. Probably have to get like our power level to like 5, or, well, probably even higher. Destiny 1's power level, well, back then it was called light level, and the highest you can go is like 400. So when we defeated the witness, it was like over 2,000. So with the winnower, our power level is probably going to go even more substantial. Probably like 400 power level from Destiny 1 and 2,000 power level. That's a big gap. I mean, look at that. I'm going to say it's probably going to be around maybe 10 or maybe 20,000 power level to defeat the winnower or whatever. That's just my opinion. But you never know. They could go higher than that. Because, the light only gives you a certain amount of power to defeat a certain entity or enemies in the first place. Although it is created by the gardener for the game to play anyway. So basically, my thinking of drag it out, have seasons, and then have DLCs, bring Zivu Wrath in. We got to deal with her and stuff like that. That's basically Savathun and Orcs is like sibling or sisters. I think they're like related or something. I don't know an actual full detail and lore about those family members of the Hive. But other than that, there's that. I know Crota is part of their little family too as well. And Savathun, of course, Then we got Zivu Wrath. And then, you can't really permanently kill Nezarek or something. He's like always like in a background or something. Like, or whatever. Something weird about that, in my opinion. That's besides the point, though. But other than that, I think that would be a good idea. Drag it out with seasons. Make a really big DLC content for the big build up for over the years, and then like eventually, like 2040 something or 50 or something like that will face the Winnower. I know that's a bit of a gap of years, but you never know. You never know. Look how long Destiny 2 drug out for. But um, I could have sworn I played the beta back in 2012, and everybody keeps telling me that it came out in 2014. I know good and well I played Destiny at 2010 or so, even earlier than that. I don't know. It probably has something to do with the Mandela effect or something. I'm starting to think that crap's kind of real. Uh, you know, that's kind of weird though. I don't know why, but I do remember like during 2010, 10ish throughout 12 or like 2012 ish, like that I played Destiny 1 at one point, and I was like 2014. I was like, that's a little bit later than usual, ain't it? Because there's no way, because I know I remember I played it earlier than 2014. Weird, but okay. So this is how I think it should go, just to have an idea. But after like the years go by or whatever with Destiny 3 or whatever it's going to call, or Destiny Infinity is what they're going to call the next game anyway. But I think they just should call it 3 in my opinion, because everybody wants 3 anyway. But also there's also this little thing where I talked in my first few other videos saying that the 9 and all that. 3 was killed, which was foreshadowing Destiny 3, and then buying the 9, that was foreshadowing June 9th. I don't think that's just coincidence. I think that was done on purpose. Yeah, that's just me though. But anyway, straight to the thing. I get a little sidetracked, and my bad. I'm just like this. Usually, I don't really talk in my videos or whatever. But yeah. So anyway, with the Winnower and the Gardener, I think this time we, instead of just only the Traveler defeating the Witness and the Guardians as well, I think all of them is going to be involved. The Guardians, the Traveler, and the Gardener. Also, the Veil, which is the Darkness's version of the Traveler, I guess, in that main term. And the whatever, like entities they got or that they got, like other knives. Like, so basically we got the Guardians. The opposite of the Guardians are basically the knives that are under the Winnower, basically. Of course, you got Rogue Guardians as well, so that's what I thought it was an ideology term. But no, I wouldn't think so. Like, the Rogue Guardians that are called Dredgen would have already been a lot been revealed under the Winnower, but that's not the case. So basically the Winnower's term of his version of Guardians are called knives. Like the Witness was the first knife. And Oryx said in Heresy that I know every knife in the realm. Now, okay, well, how many knives does the Winnower have beneath him? Just like how many Guardians they are beneath the Gardener. Now the Veil and the Traveler, they're just tools in the flower game. Just like the Winnower and Gardener, they're in the flower game too, but they don't really intervene in the game, really. But I'm starting to believe that's starting to shift, because that's why the Traveler and the Veil was created to play in the flower game, because you got the Winnower coming out and talking to you, and you got Lodi getting possessed by the Nine, and also the Winnower just recently. And so that, with him basically intervening in the flower game, isn't that considered against the rule? Well, that's why they can't see the future. None of the Nine can, since they're all rules of the flower game, because things have shifted. The Traveler wasn't supposed to return to the city, and it did. And the Nine are shifting. Then basically, the Traveler is setting her healing free. So I'm basically thinking the Traveler has enough power eventually to bring Thery back, I guess. That's my opinion. But that means sooner or later, the gardener will probably intervene, and we'll start hearing her voice or his voice. I don't know why, but I keep thinking it's a woman on the gardener side, because on the final cutscene, you do. No, not on the final cutscene. The very first concept of the cutscene on Destiny 1, you see a like humanoid looking being, and everybody thought that was the gardener, which is probably possible. But long story short, I know I've been rambling on forever, but in my opinion, let it drag out, let it build up, put out some awesome DLCs. Also put out DLCs where we have to fight all the knives under the Winnower. After, maybe we got to destroy all them, because maybe they could be in our way at some point. And put some seasons in there, put the story narratives in there, and build up that, that hypeness to the final showdown with the Winnower and kill him. I don't know. What do you think? But this is my opinion. But I think it'd be a good idea, so that way, even after everything is over with, you can still bring content to the game. After the whole build up for the Winnower, like for in years or whatever, we fight him. We end up defeating the Winnower. Now it's just physical life itself with the gardener and the Traveler. Okay, our mission is whatever that is being corrupted by the Winnower's mindset. And I think the smartest way to put it is the gardener will tell everyone, kill every single corrupted being that was under the Winnower. So that way you can still keep playing the game, and it just almost seems like it doesn't end. Although it ended, but it can keep on continuing. You can still put content, but the whole purpose is, what will be the whole purpose, everything over with? Killing all the beings. Well, okay. Let's go back what the gardener and the Winnower is. They're basically the only two, like the gardener and the Winnower, are basically the true, actual, real gods of the Destiny universe. Okay? Now we're supposed to kill the Winnower's idea and defeat him. Okay, the idea won't be a thing within most of the galaxy or whatever, supposedly. And then and the gardener values life. You get killed millions of times and you get revived no matter what. Okay, so this is where I'm going with. The gardener tells you to go kill anything that's possessed or leftover energy of the Winnower's mindset of corruption of being survival to the fittest, which is the idea, the sword logic, which are the hive been living on it since. Uh, Even the witness manipulated them to believe that nonsense. But other than that, so why I say kill every single one of them that are in the influence, because for one, that's how the gardener will win the game and how the physical reality will be, since it believes of eternal life, okay, in that sort of sense. Now, there will be a goal that we will kill every single one of the corrupted mindset from the under the winnower. The idea of the gardener is that they'll be resurrected and they'll become to life and they will be new. They won't be corrupted anymore. So that way, that will be our mission. And then once we do that, does it, it can still continue on with the game. So that way, after everything is over with, our mission is to kill everything until after everything is dead, the gardener will resurrect everyone as valued life, and the gardener would win the game. But to keep the game going, uh, uh, after everything is over with, look how many species and how many of them are under the winnower's uh, under its consumment for eons. So that will take forever, which will make the game keep continuing the narrative. That would be the whole purpose, right then and there. And then, will that actually happen? Well, I wouldn't think so, because the galaxy is and the universe is so big in this story that it will take even more eons to uncorrupt and kill everything until the gardener resurrects everything as value life. So you get what I'm saying? This is the only way I think the gardener will win the flower game in that sort of sense, since it values life itself and doesn't want nothing to die in the physical realm. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I know I talk weird in these videos, but that's why I don't really talk much in my videos, because I tend to like get a little sidetracked and talk about other subjects in the video and stuff like that, and a habit of repeating myself, which I don't like, but it happens. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. But anyway, that's all I got to say. So later. I really like the director back. It looks so awesome.